Hey guys, so as you may be able to tell by my lovely face, this week's Foundations Friday is all about bruising. Learning how to create realistic bruises is honestly a very basic special effects makeup skill, but when you get really good at it, it's unbelievable what you can create with simple bruises. And yeah, if you want to learn how to freak out your friends and family by looking like you got beat up, keep on watching. Okay, so let's talk about bruises. A bruise is usually caused by a blunt impact in which the capillaries are damaged, allowing blood to seep into the surrounding tissue. So what that basically means is that bruises will almost always take the shape of the object that causes them. So when creating a realistic bruise, you really want to take into account how did this happen. Anytime I get a bruise, I'll usually take a picture of it. Well, actually, I'll take a couple pictures of it as it's healing. Bruises go through a lot of different color changes as they heal. So the first product I'm going to use to create a bruise is eyeshadow. It's not the best product to use. You really have to find eyeshadows that are very highly pigmented. Okay, so in all of these, I'm going to be doing a black eye, just using different products and showing you the color progression as a bruise heals. So when a bruise first appears, it will usually be very red. You also might notice a hint of purple or blue in a fresh bruise. So I'm going to start with a red. And well, some bruises kind of have like a perfect edge to them, and bruises in the beginning will look more clean. They won't be as broken up. You traditionally don't want like a harsh line. I'm gonna start here. And a lot of times, like, people don't want to go super bold with bruise colors. But honestly, like, some bruises look fake. I've had bruises that are like bright blue and green, and they don't necessarily, like, they don't really look real, but they are. Okay, so here, it kind of is straight across because of how your eye socket's shaped right there. There won't be much discoloration on the eyelid itself. It'll be all in the eye socket. And I just want to add these kind of in some areas. I don't want to add it everywhere. I just want a little bit of depth to my color and variation in the color. I am going to add a bit of a purple in there. And adding a sheen to it makes it look a little better. For the next product, I'm going to be using the Mehron Bruise Wheel, and a lot of the colors actually aren't FDA approved for use around the eyes. Use at your own risk. So I have my sponge ripped up. With the Mehron Bruise Wheel, it's better to start light. They're cream, so they're very buildable. Like, you can go really harsh in the beginning, but I prefer to start light and build the color up in the areas where I want it to be built up. Basic patterning still, the same basic areas, but since it's older, now this bruise would about be a few days old. It's more broken up and there's not as much consistency in the patterning. So I have my base of red. I have my edges broken up more than in the last one. It's very easy to get heavy-handed with this color, and you can start to look like crazy. I'm going to use an even tinier section of broken up, ripped up sponge to break up that blue a bit. I'm just going to take some of the excess that I've wiped off onto my hand. Still with those patting motions, and then you can go back in with your finger and really like blend them together. Like, when you fully understand anatomy and why a wound is the way it is, that's when your effects makeup is the best. And I'm gonna add a hair of yellow around the edge, just because yellow will start to appear around your bruises first. And then, you know, the color will start to fade and it will just morph into yellow. I just want to add a little bit of yellow breakup around the edges. Not a ton, just a little bit. I'm going to do a black eye in one of the later stages of healing. More yellow, there might be some brown, the red's not as vibrant, it's kind of a rusty red. And I'm going to be showing you how to do this with alcohol paints. Now, if you're a beginner, I would not advise using alcohol paints near someone's eye unless you're very, very careful, because alcohol palettes are activated with 99% isopropyl alcohol, which when it gets in your eyes, it burns very badly. And I say that from first-hand experience. When using isopropyl alcohol on someone's face anywhere, like if you're using it around their mouth, you know, make sure they hold their breath, they're not breathing it in, because these fumes aren't great for you. Alcohol paints are very harsh on the skin, so if someone has dry, like really dried out skin, it's just going to make it more dried out, because you have to remove them with isopropyl alcohol as well, which is one of the perks of them. You know, if you're doing like a boxy character and they have a black eye, doing it with alcohol paints is really nice, because if they're doing an action scene and they're sweating, they're not going to move, but they are very harsh on the skin. So I'm going to close my eye. Obviously, I don't want the fumes getting in there. And I'm just going to start laying down some yellow. Since this bruise that I'm doing is mostly healed, it's going to be predominantly yellow. Most of the blood has dissipated. And I did just tear up my sponge again to kind of have that broken up finish. Okay, and so before you have anyone open their eye, you want all the alcohol to have evaporated, because their eyes will water and they will not be too pleased with you. And then I'm going to go in with, I think this color, called Capillary. So you can shear it out relatively easily. And like I said earlier, like, learning how to do a good bruise is very versatile. You can use it in so many different types of characters. And once you understand the science behind bruises, you really can do anything with them. And I'm going to add a hint of purple here. The finish on an alcohol palette also isn't shiny, so you can add, like, you could add some gloss on top of that. I actually might, because I feel like it needs to be a little shiny. It's looking a little flat. And I just want a little bit of sheen. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Foundations Friday and maybe learned a little something about bruises and different products you could use. If you have any requests for the future Foundations Fridays, just let me know.